Year after year, it has become more apparent that Activision and Blizzard are legitimately becoming one entity. The two giants have merged back in 2007, but for the longest time, fans of Blizzard games defended their favorite developer and blamed many bad decisions on the influence of Activision. But reality is that this line is getting blurrier every year. Yes, Treyarch reportedly is not happy with how much Activision is trying to force microtransactions into every COD game, but considering the mainstream appeal of that franchise, players have largely accepted the predatory nature of their monetization strategies. Not because they like it, but because there was no boycott large enough to put a sizable dent in the pockets of Activision. Now, Blizzard has proven time and time again that they are very capable of screwing up all on their own. Even if we were to attribute a publisher-developer relationship to the whole situation, there's no publisher in the world that explicitly desires poor PvP balance in their premium games. More often than not, it's mainly a question of profitability. Yes, many pieces of content in many games have been cut because a publisher did not deem them profitable enough, and many other things have been removed from a complete product to sell them later down the line as DLC. But if we look at the history of Overwatch, we would be lying to ourselves if we said that it was the fault of Activision that competitive play has been suffering for as long as it did. As much as the focus on the Overwatch League has hurt the game during its inception, there is no monetary benefit in making what is essentially a bad product. There is no financial reason behind poorly balancing a game, especially if you are simultaneously trying to push it as an esport. And as such, we are forced to assume that these decisions have been made on the basis of sheer incompetence. Or if we don't want to be so rude, a lack of direction. Either way, many promises have been broken over the years and many decisions have been made that the Overwatch community did not like. Blizzard promised that all the content added to the game would be free of charge, but the intricacies of that promise would be challenged not too long after. While you can make a case for Overwatch League skins being technically free because you can get tokens for watching the event rather than spending money, making that argument is much more difficult for exclusive skins like those added to the BlizzCon virtual tickets. The developers have established very early on that content in the context of Overwatch consists of three things: cosmetics, heroes, and maps. And naturally, cosmetics are the most abundant type of content because there's monetary incentive behind adding more of them. While you cannot directly monetize the free edition of heroes and maps, creating an incentive to log back into the game or to have players not stop playing in the first place makes it that much more likely that these returning players are spending money on loot boxes. But why am I talking about all of this? As a longtime player of Blizzard games, I've been observing the influence of Activision growing on the way Blizzard is handling their IPs. And I have to shake my head whenever I see people blindly defending them while baselessly accusing Activision of being the bad guy. Don't get me wrong, there are lots and lots of reasons for disliking Activision. If there's one game proving their negative influence, it would be Destiny 2, which is getting a resurgence after splitting with their publisher. But many of the things that we complain about specifically in Overwatch are rooted in a long and rich history of Blizzard making poor decisions. In fact, they are legendarily bad at balancing PvP in any of their titles that I have ever played. If we are comparing our situation to World of Warcraft, the influence of Activision can be felt much more directly. They have released an expansion way before it was ready, advertising key features that would not make it into the game for many months after its release. It took them almost a year to make Battle for Azeroth feel like a complete product. At least in my opinion. And I say that as a Blizzard fan myself, one that spent $100 on the physical deluxe edition of the game because that is how much it has grown on me in the past 10 years and change. Fact of the matter is that for the past 9 months, people who were playing World of Warcraft were paying for the privilege of waiting for content to be added to the game. Because yes, in the year 2019, World of Warcraft still demands a subscription to play. But to add insult to injury, Blizzard was adding reskinned mounts to their premium shop while players were waiting for actual content to make it to the game, and they didn't take too kindly of that. There was monetary incentive behind pushing out BFA before it was ready. There was monetary incentive behind adding a premium store to a subscription-based game. And there was monetary incentive behind spoon-feeding us the content that was promised at launch. Back to Overwatch, there was absolutely no incentive behind chip-nerfing Brigitte over the course of a year when she was clearly overpowered. There was no monetary gain behind making players quit on the basis of despising competitive play. And it is not a financially sound decision to try and push players towards watching the league on Twitch more than actually playing the game. While the last one absolutely screams Activision since they would be loving themselves some of that sponsorship money, I just want you to realize that a lot of the things you hate about the game were not Activision's fault. It's Blizzard hitting us with the "you think you do, but you don't" 2.0. Okay, 4 minutes into the video, I'm sure you're waiting for me to finally get to the point. After all, the title of it suggests that I'm actually hopeful for it more than I'm pessimistic. And you would be right. Because where previously I was feeling really bad about Blizzard as a developer on the basis of the poor decisions they have made in Overwatch and World of Warcraft, I have now seen a lot of things that make me feel like the Blizzard of old is still in there somewhere. I've already talked in a previous video about how I believe that 2019 is the year of redemption for Overwatch. How they added features to the game that we really wanted to have. How they are finally actively discussing features that they previously said they didn't like, and how they are taking a different approach to their content strategy. But I also said that, for me, the deciding factor will be the Summer Games event. If that one actually brings something new to the table, as they promised, then I can believe that Blizzard is turning a new leaf and that they are committed to improving the game as much as they can, rather than trying to milk the Overwatch League. So what is it that got me to make this video? Well, funnily enough, it's not something that happened in Overwatch at all, since we are still waiting for the Summer Games event to roll out. It's something that happened in World of Warcraft, and please hear me out on this one. Patch 8.2 has just gone live in WoW, and it's an honest-to-God amazing addition to the game that adds many things to grind for, a lot of fun things to kill some time, and also obviously adds to the hardcore content like with a new Mythic Dungeon season and a new raid tier. I've been skipping the entirety of the last tier in WoW because of how anemic it has felt to me, and I completed all the content that the previous patch had to offer within a couple days of coming back. Which, honestly, from the quality of it, it really was not bad. In fact, I did enjoy some of the quests. But 8.2 is a completely different beast. It feels like Blizzard was not just shooting for minimum requirements, but instead going for gold. And that, to me, indicates a shift in mentality, one that I hope we can feel company-wide. Because really, the reason that Blizzard gets so popular in the first place was simply because they made good games. They always had their flaws, a lot of them in fact, but at the end of the day, they were really good products that people loved spending time with and happily paid good money for. Patch 8.2 feels less like the obligatory update that is designed to keep people subscribed. It feels like they are going back to the philosophy of, if we just make a good game, people are gonna want to keep playing it. And then there's no need for any shady mechanics and microtransactions. Yes, I am aware that the teams working on each of these games are completely different, but they are usually still sharing the same basic philosophy. I mean, it's the same company, for God's sake. While yes, I'm still skeptical about Overwatch until I see the next patch, I won't lie if I said that I'm not currently getting my hopes up. And as much as I don't want to needlessly hype you up just to be disappointed again, all I want to say is, there is still hope. It's not all lost. Blizzard still has the drive to simply make good products. And I hope that they continue to prove that. Much like I hope you prove that you enjoyed this video by hitting that subscription button. I know you want it. You've been watching all the way to the end, so you might as well subscribe to see if you like my next video as well. And if you're in the mood for a video that is, well, simply fun, no serious discussion, may I suggest my video covering 17 random facts, Easter eggs, and secrets in Overwatch. Alternatively, you can also check out one of my gameplay montages. There's still a lot of fun to be had in Overwatch. Let me try to prove it to you in one of those videos. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.